Yo, what do you do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, back with you guys with another new chapter of Gundam Strike Force. And honestly, again, I know that this series isn't as much popular, but damn it, I love it. I love doing it, and I'm looking forward to this chapter. Finally, we're going to be getting more and more lore on that of, well, this series, since it is somewhat of a sequel series after that of Re-Rise, after all. Anyway, in that of the last chapter, Elijah, Takumi, Connor, and Guy met with that of the Archangel crew, giving out their own personal stories on how they have that of their own variant of the Strike Gundams, even though the Double O Strike, the Storm Strike, are Gundams that would appear in that of 2 years in that of the Seed universe, being the Strike Noir and Akatsuki. After helping them out, they decide to have that of a alliance between that of the Archangel crew and the Strike Force. However, what's the biggest mystery is why they are in the world of Gundam Seed. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Chapter 4, Meeting the Best. In that, outside of, well, GBN, in the world of Gundam Seed, it's been that of a few weeks since the Archangel crew, alongside that of the Gundam Strike Force, are now having the alliance. Currently, right now, they're on that of route to Earth. However, they need to take that of a stop towards the Artemis base, which is part of the Earth Alliance. However, it's mainly a fortress created by the Eurasian Federation. Unfortunately, the Archangel and its crew is mainly composed of the Atlantic Federation of the Earth Alliance. Even though they are basically allies and working together in the same war, there's still some bad blood between both federations, especially since they're mainly rivals, after all. But even so, they have to keep moving forward, heading and hoping that their petty rivalries will basically be put aside for the greater good of the alliance. Narumi wanting to relay this back to that of the Normandy, with Takumi already in that of the comm rooms, with then answering that of Narumi on that of the currently in that of the holodeck. However, with Narumi seeing that of Takumi on screen, however, Takumi is able to see all of Narumi, even though she's currently just sitting down. With then the vice captain saying, "Acting Captain Ramius, can I ask what is you messaging us for?" Within soon, Ramius can help but feel a little bit nervous around that of the, well, dark-skinned young man. Within speaking, saying, We're telling you about our destination. We're heading to that. Our coordinates are heading to that of the Artemis base of the Eurasian Federation. We're hoping that you and the Strike Force would tag along with us, since you were part of us. Within, soon Takumi hearing this, saying, "We'll follow. However, the Normandy will stay outside of Artemis. We will not be going inside, unfortunately." With then hearing that, Rami's couldn't help but narrow her eyes a little bit, saying, "May I ask why?" Within, Takumi speaking up, saying, "We are aware on who is in charge of that base. That being Captain Garcia of the Eurasian Federation. The guy is a bit of an opportunist no matter what, and we don't trust people like him. But to show the good faith, I will be tagging along." Within, hearing that, Narumi saying, "I appreciate you offering, but what about your captain, Elijah?" Within, Takumi realizing, shit, forgot. With soon clearing his throat, saying, "The captain has an important meeting and will not be able to tag along. And if you ask, he's currently in his quarters taking this meeting, actually, on his personal terminal, so he won't be there, but as the vice captain, I will be taking his spot. Is that a problem, Lieutenant?" With then hearing that of the tone of, well, spite coming from it. Within, feeling a little bit nervous, then saying, "No, I will allow this. We'll offer you to be part of the crew." Within hearing that, saying, "Good, I'll head out in the double strike and docking with that of the Archangel. Make sure that that the bay doesn't open up and that there are no engineers as well." Giving his orders, Ramia speaks up saying, "Understood. I'll make sure that the engineers and nobody is out on that of the bay, that of the catapult bay. We'll be waiting for your arrival within soon." A lot after that, saying Takumi, signing out. Ending the transmission. Within, Ramius couldn't help but feel a little bit down. With soon, Nataro speaking up saying, "Lieutenant, we sure we should allow this? Shouldn't their captain be involved in this, besides just their vice captain?" Within, Narumi speaking up saying, "I thought the same thing, but they said that he's in an important meeting. I wonder what this meeting even is." They're mercenaries, so they're probably making a deal with somebody. With then Moose speaking up and out of the bridge saying, "I don't know. Those kids don't seem too much of a problem. And besides, they did say that they don't trust us, but they're working with us willingly. And you've seen the firepower of their mobile suits alone. I don't think that we should basically get on their bad side. Especially that Takumi kid. Oh boy." Within, Narumi speaking, "I absolutely agree. Let's hope that he seems a more reasonable one, just like that blonde-haired one." Within, Nataro couldn't help but spoke up saying, "I believe his name was Connor. He was the one with the cat ears, which I still can't believe that." Within, Moo couldn't help but sigh a little bit, down as well, saying, "People nowadays will do anything to get back what they lost. No matter what it takes, and no matter the sacrifice after all. Kid must be tough to basically go around with that of cat ears after all. If I didn't know any better, Kid almost seemed close to that of an alien, to be honest." Hearing the words of the commander, with then both women just basically put it on their side, as it does show that Connor truly is human. Back on the Normandy, with Takumi heading back to the Double O strike, as Guy can up and say, "Seriously, Takumi, why are we just, giving in to them so easily? I mean, we can basically do whatever the hell we want." Within, Takumi looking at the muscular 15-year-old saying, "Guy, we're working with them. This is a partnership." Within saying, "But they're NPCs, dude. Not to mention, the Strike Gundam that Kira has is basically one of the weakest, since it's the first prototype model after all. Any one of us can bring that guy down. Hell, he hasn't even unlocked that of Seed mode yet." Within, Takumi saying, "All the more reason that we should take this slowly. Especially, the Artemis mission is where Kira gets the Seed mode, if I recall." With hearing that, Guy can help but say, "Oh, right, totally forgot." Not only that, we were able to take at least that of 50 refugees from Heliopolis on our ship. Surprised that the Normandy has enough room for them. Within, Connor, in the bridge, speaking up saying, "Technically in Mass Effect, the Normandy crew was only supposed to have that of a crew up to that of 20 people. But it is said that it's able to hold up to that of 80 people just in case. There is plenty of space after all. Not to mention the personal quarters. There are actually plenty of personal quarters for almost everybody here. Not to mention the spare compartments as well within the Normandy. So we have plenty of people." As then Rain speak up saying, "Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of we do have plenty of resources. Good thing that the GBN net store is still connected to that of this event. So we have plenty of supplies that we can give to that of the civilians after all." With Guy could help but not saying, "True. Shame that a lot of people had to bunk together in that of the personal chambers after all. It's also a good thing that we don't need to sleep or even eat in this world to be fair. But I did realize that we can though. Really strange event." As Takumi couldn't help but roll his eyes, with both Rain and Connor looking at each other realizing that Guy still thinks that this is still nothing but just a typical event for GBN. Within soon, Takumi couldn't help but sigh, saying, "Look, Guy, I'm heading over there. We're already aware of what's going to happen. That's exactly the reason on why I wanted the Normandy not to go inside of Artemis. We know that Nicole, alongside that of Dirka and Isaac, are going to head straight for that of the Artemis umbrella and use Nicole's Blitz Gundam and its Mirage Caloid, invisibility and intangible and camouflage to destroy the generator that has the umbrella, that stabilizes the umbrella after all. Once that happens, all hell will be left loose. Plus, it will also show, not only that, Garcia is an opportunist, especially given that what happens in the Astray series, when they get the technology to create that of the Hyperion Gundam. Not only that, we all know who pilots the Hyperion, and hopefully, if I get a chance, I'll be able to meet him at Artemis. With then soon Guy saying, "Oh, now I get it. If this isn't probably just connected to that of the main Gundam Seed timeline. This is also connected to the Astray timeline. I get it now. That's your plan, Takumi. Nice work, man." With then, Takumi can up and roll his eyes, saying, "Well, there's that too. Any rate, let's just get this over with." With soon, Takumi heading in, basically teleports into that of the Double O Strike as the yellow eyes begin to shine. Heading to the catapult deck, within, Guy couldn't help but open that of a comms channel towards that of Takumi, saying, "Oh, wait, I had to ask, where did the captain go again?" Saying, "You forgot?" Saying, "Hey, I was only half listening. He said he was heading back to main GBN after all for a meeting." It's been a few weeks here in this event. However, outside of the event and back in GBN, it's only been 2 days, showing that there's a time dilation between events, between this event and the other event. Hell, when we were just in Artemis when we just met them, it was still the same day when we started the event. And we didn't even get involved with that at the Heliopolis situation. Don't you think that's a little bit sus? Within, Guy couldn't help but shove his shoulders a little bit, saying, it was a little bit curious, but even so, doesn't matter. The event still goes on, and hell, this could give us even higher up in the rankings after all. So I say, keep on going. Annoyed at Guy's ignorance and basically reluctance to realize that they most likely are not in just a typical Gunpla GBN event, he just decides to just put it aside, saying, "You know what? I'm just heading out. This is Takumi, Vice Captain of the Strike Force, launching in Double O Strike." Heading out of the catapult with then soon Takumi, as then the GN drives begin to go active with that of with the orange GN particles flying out. With then Guy can up and say, I wonder what that meeting that the captain had to go through. Back in GBN's main system, as many other players basically just doing their own thing, playing through other events, other modes, having some fun, battling against one another, even showing off their custom-made Gunplas to all over. However, on that of a unique and out of an iconic scene, an iconic view that everybody in GBN knows all too well, this was the final battle. The location of the final battle between that of Als, an AI from the planet Miranoid. It was just considered that of a typical normal event, but however, to all of the top 10 players, the top 15 players, they all knew the truth, that this was no regular event. This was the first instance of alien life being involved in GBN, and it was also the meeting spot for the top 10 strongest players. Well, rather, 5 of those teams meeting together, with Elijah being the first one there. However, it isn't just Elijah, it's also that of his sister, Sophie, and one of the other members, being E2, with Sophie looking pretty annoyed, saying, do we have to wait this long? With then, Elijah saying, we just arrived here, saying, yeah, and I'm already bored. Within, E2 not even saying anything, within saying, somebody has arrived. Within, one of them couldn't help but say, guess you are the first ones here, Elijah. Looking back, seeing that of a familiar young spiky brunette with blue eyes, wearing that of a t-shirt, a blue t-shirt, but over it being that of looks like leather armor, as he's wearing fingerless wrist gloves and long baggy gray pants, as he's also wearing that of a white coat. Next down being that of a young woman, as she wearing that of a white dress, as she also has that of white hair as well. And what stands out is that of her bright blue eyes, as this being Riku and Sarah, two members of the Build Divers team, one of the best teams in GBN. Within, Elijah saying, so, hey, Riku, Sarah. Within, hearing that name, E2 couldn't help but, react a bit, with his eyes widening. Within, soon, Riku saying, hey there, guys. Elijah, Sophie, good to see you too, E2. I'm surprised that Takumi isn't here. With then Elijah saying, yeah, I told him to stay back in the event, in that of the Seed event. So saying, thought so. I was a little bit curious, wondering why he wasn't around with you guys, and you had your sister. But then Sophie saying, hey! With then Sarah basically walking over to E2 saying, ew, it's so good to see you again. With then E2 basically looking down at Sarah, with then saying, it's good to see you too, big sister Sarah. After saying that, Sarah couldn't help but smile, saying, are you doing well for yourself? I mean, it has been a while since we last spoke to one another. Are you getting along with everybody, with your team too? Saying, I'm trying my best. With his head down in a little bit of disappointment, with Sarah basically, patting him on the shoulder, as both Riku and Elijah couldn't help but smile. With then Elijah saying, still can't believe that that he sees her as that of his elder sister. With then Riku saying, can't blame him. I mean, he's one of the most recent L-divers after all these years. L-divers went from being quite rare to now being pretty common. You can't go anywhere around GBN without seeing an L-diver. Well, even if you know who even is an L-diver after all. What Elijah can help but smile, saying, true to that. You either know by their gunpla or they're straight out willing to tell, after all. With then soon, Sarah saying, Captain Elijah, I had to ask, I thought Yin would show up. With then Elijah saying, oh, right, Yin. Honestly, she would, but she said that she wanted to take on the event, help Bond take on the event after all. She's currently with the others. Within Sarah saying, oh, that's so bad. I actually wanted to speak to her after all these years too. With Sarah looking down, saying, even so, I'm just glad to see my little brother here. Within, E2 couldn't help but feel a little bit, nervous. However, they hear that of another voice in the distance. Hey there, guys. With then seeing that of two other familiar faces as well, Hiro and May, the other members of the other Build Divers team. However, the E in Build is basically capitalized in Dive, and the same thing also goes for the other E in Divers as well. As Hiro wearing that of his trademark cloak under that of casual GBN avatar wear, as with that of his black hair and green eyes, alongside of him being that of May, another L diver, having that of long black hair, with that of bright green eyes as well, as she has that of a shirt with that of long baggy sleeves, and also tight black pants. However, walking also beside that of Hiruto as well, being that of their other teammate, wearing that of white priestess attire, as she also having that of, cat ears as well, as they are brunette instead of blonde like that of Connor's. being one of the most recent members of the Build Divers team, Hinata, and Hiruto's, second girlfriend, as May is still his first after all. With Hiro in somewhat monotone voice, but however, having out of a smile, still saying, "Hey there, looks like you guys arrived too." With Elijah saying, "Yo, Hiruto, May, Hinata," arrived just in time, with Riku saying, "Welcome guys, you're the third to arrive." With Sarah excited, running towards May saying, "Hello there, big sis." Within, soon May saying, "It's good to see you too, Sarah," as holding their hands in that of celebratory within, soon May looking at that of E2 saying, "Eel, it's good to see you as well," saying, "Likewise, big sister May." Within, both Hiruto and Hinata going over to Riku and Elijah and Sarah and Sophie. Within, soon Hiruto saying, "Did you bring E2 because you wanted him to spend time with his sisters?" Within, Elijah saying, "Well, technically, it was Takumi's actually idea." Guy is always trying to be the lone wolf of our team, even though Takumi plays that role way too well. He believes that E2 should spend more time with with that of his family, especially his siblings. Seeing Sarah basically holding hands with both that of May and also E2, with E2 feeling a little bit embarrassed, even though he's the tallest of all three of them. He is the most embarrassed, given that this is what it feels like for a younger sibling to be doted on by that of his older siblings. So, already starting with all the cutesy shit, it seems, as a voice that sounds quite aggressive and somewhat a bit arrogant shows up too, with then soon a high pitch but in somewhat deep voice, another deep voice saying, "Come on, bro, you're being a little too mean, don't you think?" You're always with then soon that of a mature voice, as he sounds like at least in that of his mid-20s, saying, "You're always so aggressive, ogre." As the new arrivals being that of a young man that looks like at least in his late teens to early 20s, as just as his namesake, he basically looks like that of a typical human. However, he has that of horns, red spiky hair that goes all the way down to that of his upper back, and wearing that of a yellow battle garb with with that of Hakumo pants. This being the leader of the Hakeshu, one of Riku's most aggressive rivals and somewhat close ally, Ogre, and by his side being that of a pudgy and also wearing Japanese attire as well, almost of the attire of a servant boy, as he also having that of a horn, but only one singular horn, as he has that of wearing that of a Tokatsu ponytail, this being Ogre's younger brother, Doji, and the last one being that of GBN's former world champion, Kyoya, leader of Avalon. With then Elijah couldn't help but smirk, saying, "Good, looks like we're all here," with Riku nodding. However, and his smile disappears before it becomes serious, saying, "Elijah, Hiruto, Ogre, Kyoya, we all need to talk about the event that had just affected all of us. One of the many private servers using that of Riku's old, room that before getting that of a base for that of the build divers. They soon began to explain the situation, with Elijah going first saying, "So each and every one of you go to that of different Gundam universes? It isn't just us who was just in that of Seed?" With many of them nodding, with Riku, as Sarah basically holding that of Riku's hand, saying, we went through that of event that takes place in the Seed universe. It takes part during that of Celestial Being's first intervention. At first, I thought that we were just going to be helping them out, take out the enemy forces. But as soon as we helped out, with then Riku going into detail about what's happened, as Riku, Yuki, Sarah, Ayame, KO1 basically took out all of the helping forces, even destroyed a few of them too, hoping that it would take care of the mission. However, it was the opposite. Setsuna, the pilot of the Gundam Exia, attacked Riku and Sarah, basically asking questions on how the hell did they have Gundams themselves. And not only that, that their mobile suits are completely different from theirs. It even caught Riku more off guard too, that they were basically asking them questions and attacking them too. When it came to missions like this, that of the allied characters never attacked them, especially if it's based on that of a Dynasty Warriors mission. It was only when that of Yuki and KO1 basically stepped in to help out both Riku and Sarah, who didn't want to fight back. Or rather, Riku was basically shell-shocked. It also didn't help that, well, Tieria, of all people, especially since this was Season 1 Tieria, wanted to kill Riku more than anything. Because not only he had that the Gundam 00 Sky High Arms, didn't just have that of a, well, GN drive, but it was the 00 Gundam Twin Drive. Seeing this basically goes against everything that Veda wanted. So of course, it just made things a lot more complicated. After that first mission, they made sure to return back to GBN and wondering what the hell just happened. Let's just say the first Build Divers team basically went through a little bit of hell because of that. Speaking of another Build Divers team, Hiruto and Mei also recommend their accounts too. Originally, since this was during the time when Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury series, was starting to get popular after all, and they added plenty of events from that of the anime to that of the game. They just thought it was just going to be a typical fan mission after all. To Hiruto's, well, predicament, they were absolutely, completely, and utterly wrong. For example, they begin like at the very beginning of the anime, where Suletta was going to that of the academy. Normally, it would have been Suletta that basically, well, saved that of Mirine, who was running away from the academy at the time, just like in the first episode. But instead, Hiruto basically saves her instead, using the Core Gundam 2 to save her. And let's just say that even though everything played out just like the anime for him, well, let's just say that those from the academy, mainly that of the security, and especially from the Reinfeld Corporation, all of the Reinfeld corporations, didn't take lightly to that of finding out that Hiru had that of a Gundam. And not just him, but there was also Kazumi as well, when he wanted to fight back, finding out that the event was too real. Hell, even Mei, who has a more stronger connection to that of GBN systems, couldn't connect back to GBN outside of either the log after signing out of the event mission. After leaving, her connection back to GBN returned, like it never disappeared to begin with, which proving that the event is actually both connected and outside of GBN's system. Hearing this, Doji couldn't help but comment saying, "Wow, that's even scarier than before." But then, Ogre couldn't help but get annoyed before looking at Kyoya saying, "Hey, old champ, care to explain on what the game masters and even the developers are doing about this?" With Kyoya basically saying, "Well, after what happened and all of the top 10 members of GBN getting this event springed onto them, they basically wanted to check and maintenance the systems, hoping that it's not some kind of, well, abnormality of the brake decals, but finding out it's far from that. They even thought that it's the same as with Planet Mira of all things, with Hiro basically shaking his head saying, "It's similar, Captain, but not entirely the same." When it came to Planet Mira, only us and our team are only allowed to go to the planet and freely go back and forth between it. This event, on the other hand, anyone from that of the top 10 rankings are free to go from it. Turns out, I even asked a few people during my times when I was still a solo player, they were able to affect on this event as well. They all said that they couldn't. So again, it's only tied to those in the top 10. Within, Elijah couldn't help but get a little bit annoyed saying, "And we just joined the top 10 just a little while ago and this shit happens?" Talk about one hell of a welcoming, am I right? Within, Sophie couldn't help but say, "Geez, bro, you're acting like it's the end of the world." Within, soon, Elijah couldn't help but get annoyed at his sister, saying, "I mean, it's not, but it could be. This doesn't just seem like this isn't some kind of typical event. All of us, every last one of us have basically got sucked into that of the world of Gundam, at least into that one different version or another." Within, Elijah saying, "Speaking of, what about the others from the other top 10 teams?" Within, May basically raising her hand saying, "I can explain that. Just as we're speaking, the other teams are also going through their own notes is what's happening as well, comparing their notes and their experiences." Within, soon, Ogre saying, "We haven't heard anything casualties happening. Did anybody lose their lives or their Gunpla while fighting?" Within, May shaking her head saying, "Not that we are aware of. Unlike our teams that are basically small, well, except one of ours." Within, looking at Kyoya, basically scratching the back of his blonde locks. Within, May continues saying, "Teams with that of a huge amount of members may have been lost in the cracks. Who could say? There hasn't been any incidents of any player across the world who has been affected by this event just yet that are affiliated with that of the top 10 teams." Within hearing this, Elijah saying, "Count us lucky, but even so." Within, soon Elijah couldn't help but smirk a little bit before it goes back to his neutral look, saying, "I think we should continue going on with this event." Within, everybody looking at that of the, well, black-haired teenager. Within, Riku saying, "I agree. Other than the fact that it seemed way too real for me and caught me off guard, I still want to experience everything from Double O again. And maybe, if it's possible, we can," with then soon Kyoya being the voice of reason saying, "Are you too serious? You can't be." Within, looking at the former champ, within Elijah saying, "Come on, Kyoya," saying, "This isn't a game. When you know that, right?" Saying, "We are. Then why go back?" Within, Kirito basically explaining, saying, "I want to experience it too." Within, looking at that of the ponytailed black-haired young man as saying, "There's so much to us. Gundam has always been nothing but either just a series or just that of a, well, fad, especially for those who build Gunpla. But what if we experience everything that the characters experience in their show? Heartbreak, suffering, pain, the hardships of wars, and the pain of loss. Our Build Divers team basically already went through that. We literally experienced it. But now, honestly, life and death situations is nothing new to us. I want to experience it because I want to see if there are things that we can change for the better." There's within May saying, Big Sarah and I, alongside that of E2, we're L divers. It's because of GBN and Gundam itself that the reason that we even exist. We wish to experience it as well, even if we're tied to only one Gundam series. Within Sarah also, within saying, "Same here. And now that we know what we're prepared for, I think that we can do this. Right, Riku?" Within, looking at that of the brunette, he couldn't help but smile and saying, "Right." Soon, Kyoya couldn't help but sigh. Within, Ogre saying, "No reason to change their minds when they get like this, old champ. When they set their minds on something, they're going to do it. Besides, me and my crew is about to do the exact same thing." As Ogre gives off that of a feral toothy smile as well. Within, Doji looking at his big brother saying, "Huh? But bro, wait, you're serious?" Within, Ogre saying, "Of course I am, Doji. I've been itching for something that will actually get me some real fun. And besides, we also are in the world of Gundam 00 as well. But I prefer if we don't get involved with that of celestial beings problems. I'd rather get involved with that of their sister company, otherwise known as the Felcher Company." Within, Doji saying, "Wait, you mean the same company that Foss Bach also part of? You want us to work with that of the psychotic Gundam Meister? But then Doji can help its eyes saying, I'm not surprised. He was one of your favorite characters, bro. Well, if you're doing this, then I'll be there by your side as well. With Ogre couldn't help but smirk, as then Killua couldn't help but scratch his hair once again, saying, "Oh boy, it looks like I'm gonna have quite a bit to talk to with that of the Game Master then." With then sighing before saying, "Just make sure that you guys be safe, okay?" With then Elijah saying, "Oh, what about you, champ? What was the series that you and Avalon got involved with?" Kirito also convinced on that of his old, teammates, event Gundam series that they will also sent to. But then Kyoya couldn't help but smile a little bit, saying, Gundam Age, of course. But then, hearing that, what soon, Kirito, Riku, and Elijah all look at each other, but then realize it can't be a coincidence. But then Riku saying, can't be either. But then Kirito saying, makes a lot of sense. What soon, Ogre saying, the hell are you guys basically comparing? With then Elijah saying, I think the world that we're all sending to is based on that of the leader of the company, leader of the teams after all. Ogre, your Gundam, GP Repose after all, is basically the Gundam GP2 physical, equipped with that of a GN solar reactor, right? Yeah. With then saying, then normally it would have either gone to that of Gundam Stardust Memories, or it should have, or just as before, the 00 series. And just like that, it went to the 00 series. Not a lot of your other members have that of GN models, right? From 00. But then Ogre saying, now you mention it, it does make a lot of sense now. But then Kyoya saying, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. My Gundam Age 2 Magna is basically a custom-made Gundam Age 2. Now it makes sense on why when we got sent to that of Age, that it took place mainly in that of Asimu's storyline after all, instead of either Flynn's, and from the very beginning. Same way as was for my team. Since I may be the captain, but the decisions are basically made by Takumi, Guy, and Connor and I, and all our Gundams are basically variants of the Strike Gundam. So if anything, we could have ended up either in the beginning of Seed or either the beginning of 00. We could have even ended up in that of, Stargazer as well. So if anything, it depends. It depends on who's truly in charge. And since my Gundam is that of a variant of the Strike, it seems like we were always set to go to that of Heliopolis. Now it makes a lot of sense on why certain teams went to certain universes. But then Kyoya saying, I'll put you guys' theory to that of the game masters and the developers. Other than that, just make sure you guys are safe, alright? But then, like before, they all nod. But then Elijah saying, better get back to that event, hoping the others are taking care of it pretty well. Given that, the event always continues on depending on how many members are still interacting with it. So he can basically show up the same time as the event finishing up. Within Riku nodding as he also stands up with Sarah, saying, we asked Yuki to also do the same, to keep us updated with everything that happened in the event. He's been sending me quite a bit of messages through that of the board after all, with then Sarah actually having that of a nervous look on her face too. Now you mention it. It depends on how anybody can basically continue the event. As long as nobody else basically gets involved, the event always stays the same. Basically, it stops like just any other event, as long as nobody from that team continues it. It's quite interesting, I won't lie. We still gotta keep being safe. As then Elijah looking back at Sophia and E2 saying, you guys ready? With then Sarah saying, sure. I always wanted to meet Kira Yamato in person. Now I actually get my dream. With Elijah rolling his eyes at his sister, with then E2 saying, sorry Captain, but I won't be tagging along for this one. With then, soon, Elijah saying, wait, you're not? Saying, don't get me wrong. I'll come whenever I can, but I need to help out with this event too. If it's this event must be tied to that of GBN's data somehow, and as an L diver, and especially one of the most recent L divers that have a stronger connection to GBN, I can access the code a lot more easier. And wondering on where the hell did this event for every team in the top 10 rankings came from. If I can do this, maybe, just maybe, there's a way to actually branch out to other Gundam universes. Possibly even connect more and more to a world that we all saw as nothing but fiction, but is truly reality in another universe. So if I'm going to be completely honest, I just want to pique my curiosity a little more. After saying his piece, with then E2 leaving off, as then May couldn't help but sigh at that of her younger brother's antics, saying all he wants is just to have a little bit of fun and possibly want to continue being the loner. But then Sarah basically giggling at that of E2's, actions as well. But then Elijah couldn't help but sigh, saying, as long as he doesn't do anything too crazy, I think it's good. All right, catch you guys later. And like you said, be safe. With all of them also nodding as well and saying goodbyes to Elijah and Sophie as well. With then arriving back at the Normandy as the event is still going on strong. But then soon, Rain speaking up saying, oh crap, looks like you just came back in time, Captain. Head to the launch bay. Saying, what's going on? Artemis was under attack just like before. But we got at least another problem though. With then soon, Elijah saying, in what way? As they soon begin to feel the Normandy basically having that of strong twists and turns. With then soon, Elijah seeing in that of one of the nearby windows of the Normandy, as he soon notices that a certain Gundam that shouldn't be appearing at this moment, as it being the Hyperion Gundam, piloted by a certain coordinator, being Khan Pars, with then saying, wait, is that the Hyperion? That should not exist right now! Or literally not be up and moving, at least not yet. It's too early. With then soon, Rain saying, that's what we thought, the same thing. But if you want the full rundown, you gotta ask the Vice Captain. Best chance of asking him, finishing up this battle, Captain. With then saying, right. Sophie saying, hey, I would tag along, but I think it's best to figure out the ship's operating system. And hoping, with then feeling the turbulence once again, saying, hoping that Jesse doesn't start doing loop-de-loops in this damn thing. Good point. Go. With that, seeing his sister off, heading to that of the pilot's quarters, with then Elijah heading to the elevator, hoping to wonder what the hell is going on, and he was just gone for that of a few minutes. Now, it seems that the crisis at that of Artemis has just begun, and hoping to take care of it before things get too crazy. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let's read them. So, how did you guys like this part? Sorry that it wasn't another action-packed chapter. Don't worry, next chapter will be with some crazy plots twist in here, and wonder why Khan Pars is already in current canon of Seed instead of showing up later on in Astray X. So yeah, look forward to that explanation in the next chapter. So, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, keep to date my videos on below the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, gaming channel, main channel, Patreon, and Cash App. All link in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care.